Hey there, welcome back to the guide to surrogacy. Now, my husband and I have had a daughter through surrogacy. If you want to see how that process worked, there is a link somewhere above me now, because in this particular video, we are talking about how to get your child born through surrogacy a passport. Is it the same as any other passport for a baby? Not quite. It gets a little complicated. In fact, it got so complicated that none of the officials knew what to do either, which is why I decided to make this video. Right, start off from the beginning, shall we? If you want to get your child a passport, you have to go to the government website to do it. In most instances, it will need the same information. So babies that are adopted, babies that are naturally born, babies that are born through surrogacy, there is a set amount of information, which is always the case. You will need to prove parentage. You will need to prove who you are. You will need to prove what country you were born in, and you will need to get an external person to agree that you are who you say you are. And this will be the case in all instances. Where it gets tricky is the parentage section. So if you're going to get a passport, I would imagine you would want your child to have your surname and to have you and your partner as parents. Now, when the child's been born through surrogacy, the mother will be down as the surrogate. Now, you will need to change that and get legal parentage officially sorted before you get your passport. This is done through a parental order. I did a video about that a while ago. I will put a link to that one somewhere around me now. The parental order has to be done before your child is 6 months old, and it takes a little while. I think for us in total it took about 3 or 4 months to get it all sorted. Once the parental order is sorted, you and your partner should be legally down as your child through surrogacy's parents. Got that? Clear as mud. Right, and then we get through to the other bits of the information that you are going to need. You will need to prove who you are and where you come from. So to do that, supply copies of your passports. You will need to take a photo of your baby. It will help. It is easier if your child is old enough to sit up on their own. Our daughter was able to sit up, and we had a white wall behind her, and it worked out fine. What they quite often say is put your baby down on a white blanket. The rules are easier when you have a child. If they are very small, they don't have to look at the camera. They can even have their eyes shut. As long as they are under a few years old, they don't have to smile. No, they can smile, sorry. They don't have to look at the camera. So the rules are a bit easier than if you're having a passport taken for yourself. That being said, if you're anything like me, you'll want to get them set up and looking at the camera properly, which is what I managed to do through the aid of a well-balanced shoulder and the Photoshop removal of a light switch. Ours worked out perfect. So we had the photo sorted. We then had to get a professional to agree that that was in fact a true likeness of our child. We sent that off to a friend of ours who is also a lawyer. It doesn't have to be someone with that kind of job. They just need to not live in the same house as you and have a different surname. Then the two of you as parents will need to prove that you are parents. So that will either be done through a marriage certificate or a civil partnership license. And with the accompanying copies of your passports, that will prove your country of origin as well, and will then dictate that you have a right for your child to be of this nationality. Where it now gets different to any other situation is the website will say, if your child is born through any of these circumstances, we will need you to provide extra information. And when it comes to children born through surrogacy, that really comes down to 3 things. You need to, first off, write a covering letter describing the circumstances surrounding the surrogacy. For us, we used basically the same letter that we sent off as part of the parental order. It had a timeline, it listed all the gubbins around that. It's a bit annoying, but yes, you have to sum up your surrogacy arrangement and put that in with a letter. You then need to get a letter or proof from the fertility clinic that you used. Yes, it is a ball ache. Fortunately, ours were very amenable and very happy to do it. So we had a letter then from our clinic to prove that they had been involved and the child was born through surrogacy. The third thing is where it got complicated, and it was all due to this line on their website. You'll need the child's original birth certificate issued after the parental order was granted. Now, I couldn't decipher that, so I phoned up the local registrar. She couldn't decipher that either. So I phoned up the regional offices. Guess what? They didn't know what it meant either. They were very keen to get it right, but they didn't know the answer. So I had to get put through to the National Office for England and Wales to figure out this passport scenario. And it turns out the wording on the website is actually wrong. It all comes down to what people refer to the document as. And I've learned that you cannot get an amended birth certificate after the parental order, which is what everyone has been calling it up to now. They say you have your parental order and then you get an amended birth certificate with your new parents on it. That doesn't happen. What actually happens when you go and have a parental order is you then supersede your birth certificate with a new parental order certificate. But people call it an amended birth certificate. But there is no such thing. The original birth certificate will always exist. It just gets superseded. You can't change the original one. Does that make sense? It's very confusing. Anyway, so what it turns out, they actually want the original birth certificate before the parental order and the parental order. Okay, so basically throw everything into the pack. So just to summarize, to apply online for your child's passport, you do it all online. It will then say send these documents to us, and you want copies of yours and your other half's passports, wedding license or civil partnership license if you have one. By this point, your photo will have been approved online by your professional person. You need your letter summing up your, what are we talking about? Surrogacy. You need your letter from your clinic, and you need your birth certificate and your parental order, and you send all of that off in a bundle, probably recorded, because you don't want that stuff lost now, do you? There was also much talk of a CM reference number. We didn't know what this was or where to find it, but we found it eventually on the initial paperwork for the parental order. And this CM reference number is very important, and you won't find it on your actual parental order certificate or anywhere else. So be pre-warned, dig that out if you can. It looks like this. It then took them 2 weeks to confirm that they had received the information, another 2 weeks for them to get the information back to us, I think, and then a further week on from that for them to send the passport in the post. Ta-da! Yes, it's here. It's very funky, and there also is your new passport. You must sign it document. I haven't read it through yet. I haven't figured out how our 9-month-old will be signing it. I'm sure it will not require a video of its own, and we shall figure it out. But yeah, all in all then, once we had figured out how to do it, once we had all the information that we needed, and once we'd assembled the pack and got the information together and sent it off, it was just over a month to get the passport back. And it was as simple as that. Hopefully that's answered any questions that you might have and will make it easier for you. I'm going to put here, this is the official UK, England and Wales helpline number for passports. They were very helpful. There was a little bit of a wait to get hold of them, but ultimately they will be able to give you any of the answers that I can't provide on here, and also they're official and I am not. If you've got a local registrar, you could just try them first. Okay. If this video has been helpful, like. If I'm useful, follow. And if you want to see what else is to come, subscribe. And with that, I will be leaving you. See you next time on the Guide to Surrogacy. Ta-ra!